it was a little ordeal getting onto here. Let's see. Suppose. So what we got here. Peace. Says young God turned knowledge God today. Happy born day to the young God. Universal truth, real hip hop. Wise came in. Jasim. Mom J L7. Wise U. Universal truth. to give a streaming kit, huh? Yeah, I got for that kind of stuff for a streaming kit. I got my Cash App and my PayPal. Cage came in. See if we can get this. See if we can get this right here adjusted. We'll got a handle on this. Can we got word 60 came up. So yeah, definitely right now. So yeah, that's it. That's it. A certain topic right there. Young guy born knowledge guy. I said I was listening to some of Elijah's interviews today, all on the business. It's been a minute. I was just talking about you the other day. SW. Wordsmith has. Have you seen a book called Tripping with the Law by Michael Muhammad Knight? He put the universal flag on the cover. No, I haven't seen that. It's a new one on me. I like the little African thing in there. Halftime. But what was the size with Elijah's interviews? You said you watched some Elijah's interviews today. What was the science with that? And what's good? Let me see. I can Google this book right here. Tripping with the Love. See, you gotta understand who Michael Muhammad Knight is. You gotta understand who Michael Muhammad Knight is, and people that's like Michael Muhammad Knight. You know? And when you begin to understand some of this stuff, then you will see why we the way we are concerning the lessons. You know what I mean? And how we do a lot to gauge the sincerity of people that come amongst us. Why, as you said, what is today's degree? W.F. Muhammad.
Peace, God.
Peace. You said today's degree is W.F. Muhammad. The wordsmith said, I read some of it, and it's about exploring Islam through psychedelic drugs. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You guys, he's my opinion, he's a dogmatic seeker. People that, they have questions, and not to say that, his journey is not going to end up in him finding what he's looking for. But, all of these are different experiences that, he's having, out of curiosity. Real hip hop said Michael Knight is a false writer. He was a 5% just so he could write a book about us. Why I said he was building on the Elijah's interviews, he was building on father, his origins, and also the beginning of a white man. You got to speak his language to hear some of the things he's saying that's hidden within his words. Yeah, I'm not, I know about Elijah's teachings, but I'm not, I haven't followed very intently, his different speeches. Wordsmith said he also wrote 2 other books about the 5%. Supposedly he got mathematics from Israel. I don't know about that. I don't know. He was somebody that as soon as I saw him, Orange Man bad. I never had a conversation with him. I never was a part of a conversation. I never was a part of a conversation that he was a part of it with me. You know what I'm saying?
Come in. Right on time.
That's the deal is to deal with that, but I don't really.
You got that one up and running. I didn't actually hook it up yet. But
he is who I thought he was.
One of them is
Asiatic mathematics say he's a Sunni, but if you read some of his stuff, he's kind of all over the place. Yeah, because
you need a mouse. You like somebody.
Gotta hook up. A wiring over here, like the brother said. He's Sunni, but if you read some of his stuff, he's kind of all over the place with it. Jonathan Kidd, Shot Master came in.
What's the password for the shit? You changed it? That one there, I didn't even look that one up yet for you. Because that's, we got 2 of those. But what's the old one? That's not the same old one that was up here. That was the old. This one, right? This one. This is new. I ain't set it up yet. I gotta configure it. Unless you got let me make a call real quick. No, what's the password?
I don't know that password. We just bought that one. You probably got to wipe it clean.
So he ain't got no applications on it.
Nothing's on that one.
You need to, hold on. I can switch to the lap and you can switch over here. You want to do that?
If you don't mind,
Hold on.
be temporary, but I gotta do.
Wait a minute. With the case here, the 114 said the colored man and Caucasian man is the devil. I thought the colored man and Caucasian man are the same. So let's get into that right there. Let's get into that right there about what colored man and Caucasian man means. Right? Brilliant elevation. So color is a composite of original. So anyone acting, color is the opposite of original. So anyone acting other than their original self can be considered colored depending on how you see it. All right. So we got here.
Let me just smoke it. I don't know.
We got Infinite Mega is in the room, y'all.
If Mega's in there?
Yeah.
Tell him I said peace.
Yeah, Devon is here, and she said peace.
Someone said peace too.
Yeah.
Tell him I said he better. Tell him I said he better call me. I'm gonna box him upside his fucking head.
So he's out of the hospital.
Devon's is here. You know what I'm saying?
So he's out of the hospital and doing okay?
He's doing okay.
Well, tell him to give me a call.
I got you.
Give me a call. I'm gonna box him upside his head, just like that.
All right. So I'm sure you heard that. If you don't give Devon a call, he's gonna box you upside the head. But while I switch these wires over, let's everybody put their answers in about how you see the colored man and the Caucasian man.
So the 120 Zoom class? Something like that? It's like a 120 Zoom class?
Well, it's just YouTube, but yeah. But yeah, I got the program where I can tag anybody in.
Yes, that's hot.
This is yours, right? This is like external. That's like external. Is this like external or Charlie?
Charlie.
Oh,
I heard about them YouTubes. Brother from Jersey, Todd Kim. You know Todd Kim, he be on there sometime? One time he got in with a little girl, a sister from Jersey. You know, I probably don't even have to. Only pro software you got open is online, right? Can you?
Oh yeah.
See, I might don't even have to log out of this. Is what I'm saying. You can still, because I need maybe 2 software programs, and that's it. And you can leave this open. I don't know if you can open it up over there too.
Yeah,
You
do it like that. Do it like that.
I can hide this, you know what I mean? So you don't have to go. And I can even use Safari. I don't even have to use what you're using if I want to go internet. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need to interfere that.
Go back to what's today.
To the Chrome.
Yeah, real quick.
this is
Right there.
Right here. Hit remove.
Yeah. Alright. Alright. We halfway back in the film. So let's see what kind of answers we have on this here. Hip hop and YU got a side rally. They've been going on for a couple of days. Sean Master a lot, PC God, E Kareem. I don't understand if that kind of went into we got some guy that said colored man or Caucasian man is the devil. Well, I've said the colored man is a dude who is like a venomous snake and the powers of a chameleon. Turn the volume off. While Caucasian is of origin from the Caucasus Mountains in Asia, color is a derivative of the original. There are original people from the Caucasus Mountains. Somebody said the colored man is the Caucasian white man first, but any original man acting other than himself is made colored. The wordsmith said reincarnation is an Eastern concept from Buddhism. That's not how self-learn the master. As W said, colored is one acting other than his original self, or the Caucasian man who is colored by his default, both born devil, be it potential or kinetic bad energy. He said reincarnation was around long before Buddhism. I suppose this is another topic developing right here. How old is reincarnation? Comments only, you already got some controversy. But how old is Buddhism, and what does it trace back to? Not Buddhism, I mean reincarnation. How old is reincarnation? And what have you traced it back to? Natural. What's going on, natural? So I guess we're going to go into that later. Natural said, color is grafted or taken out of its original form, black or white. The person can be colored in the mind. Caucasian is white only. So yeah, I'll add on with that right there. You know, you gotta remember that all of these things, right, they first stem from ideas. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, even the devil, you know, they come from an idea that Yaqub had. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, when you look at the idea that Yaqub had, he had a particular idea that, you know, it was physical. You know what I'm saying? He dealt with the science of sex, and he wants, yeah. Give me an orange Gatorade. Yeah. What you get? What you get? So,
You don't need to sell it, but you know, something like that.
yeah, that's what I said. What's that, man? Look, I gotta see what you get.
They got like hard lemonades. Yeah, they got that over Mike's Hard or something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Mike's Hard lemonade, right? You never seen the Mike's Hard lemonade, cranberry, mango?
Yeah, I never had it before.
You used to the hard stuff.
I need the Gatorade though.
You want Gatorade?
Yeah, the $3 one, orange.
Orange?
And give me one of those lemonades.
And lemonade?
Yeah.
Alright.
You know, fuck with lemonade. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to what I was saying, you know, you got to look at the idea. Anytime somebody's speaking to you, right? The words that they're using is to give you an idea of what the true reality of that thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're talking about a cup, right? A cup doesn't change. You know, if you say the word in Spanish or you say the word in German, you know, like there's a whole other version of a cup, right? Because the language that you use for it changed. If you don't know the word for it, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're an infant, right? And you don't know the word for something, it still doesn't change anything about the reality of what that thing is. But it gives you an idea. That's why we deal with the science of, going into words, the meaning of words, the etymology of words, the usage of words, right? So that we can gain an understanding, like in this situation right here. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to ask yourself the who, what, where, when, why, and how, right? Because even after we go through 120 lessons, right, and we know the whole thing, we still have certain questions on this degree or that degree. You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, we ask different people that we respect their experience and knowledge or whatever, right? But ultimately, we got to ask and answer those questions for ourselves. You know what I mean? So, just a little bit of background for, people that might be newer to the group, about how we go about gaining understanding in a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember that, color, right? Or Caucasian for that matter, right? We got to look at it mentally and physically. You see what I'm saying? The same way we look at who is the original man mentally and physically, right? somebody mentioned in their answer potential and connected. You see what I'm saying? So can a person go through a 600-year process mentally? Right? See, remember, the Caucasian is Yakub's particular grafted devil of the planet Earth. Correct. You know, that's Yakub's particular grafted devil of the planet Earth. You understand what I'm saying? When we say any man which is made weak and wicked, that's telling you that any man, right? It's only the original man and the colored man, and then you got the half original man, right? You got the original families, you got the colored families. So when I say any man which is made weak and wicked, who all could it be talking about? But like the brother said, Caucasian, that's speaking about a particular group of people, right? With a particular, their connection to each other is physical. They've all been through this process of being grafted into something that's no more original. You understand what I'm saying? But a person could also go through different processes, right? A person can go through different processes of which they know more. Like you got certain people, right, that they deal with a certain substance. And then they, like well, I brought up before, you know what I'm saying, about a person, if you know anybody, right, before they started smoking crack, and then you knew them while they smoked crack, right, and then you still knew them after they stopped smoking crack, that person who they was when they were smoking crack was somebody else. It wasn't the same as the person who, it wasn't the same as the person who, you knew before that, and the person they came back to being after that. So, hopefully that got to the core of who is the colored man and who is the Caucasian man. Now we got another little side rally developing over here with reincarnation. Asiatic mathematics said reincarnation is bogus and it's not in line with 120. Just look at the knowledge and understanding group. SW said, do the knowledge to the truth so you can see the reality of right and wrong. State of the art of the state. All right, I'm gonna just come out and ask you this time. State of the art. What degree is your knowledge now? Any and all excuses should be out the window by now. And I'm sure you're gonna tell me that you're at least on the 1 in 14. There's just no other way. Rami said the knowledge degree in the 1 in 40 has relation to the doctrine of cyclical course of history taught by Eastern doctrines like Jainism. I mean, I think I see where you're going with that, but you got it. think you got to add on a little bit more than that to really make that connection.
Gotta go. They'll buy it.
So I made an executive decision. The second choice I made.
Yeah, here.
Back to the old school.
All right. See, I know the routine. Don't tell boy not tomorrow.
Logo. What you do, you more used to it, you know?
Not as long now, though. You're right, I'm a little used to it, but the quick time period I gotta win. I'm used to winning just for that time, but now it's all day, every day. Come on.
We'll play the state of the art this week. State of the art says, so the Caucasian was right when he labeled a miseducated black man colored. No. You know, even in that miseducated or uneducated state, right? That's not going to make somebody other than their own self. See, because even in the midst of all that, you still have righteous people. You still have people who, gain knowledge, educated themselves. You still had Frederick Douglass that came from that system, Harriet Tubman, just name a couple of people who gained fame, you know what I mean? But you had lots of people who that didn't make them other than their own self, in terms of being the devil, in terms of putting their full potential, in terms of taking their full potential out of kinetic, in terms of making them blind, deaf, and dumb to themselves when they was babies. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not going to make them, that's not going to put them in the colored man, the Caucasian man category. Wordsmith said, if you don't have the memories of a person from the past, then he is not you per se, but in all reality, everything that exists is one. Thomas Romney said, mind is a part of the body. To my knowledge, all the Eastern doctrines, aside from Buddhism, teach that the self is beyond mind and matter. The wordsmith said, if you wipe my memory today, I would be a whole new person, but in the same body. SW said, I won't call it spooky because it's said to be physically felt in the senses. Universal Truth said, you are not your memories. Y'all going in a very in-depth, this is a very in-depth philosophical side rally y'all having over here today. I'm quite interested. I'm quite interested in how this turns out. might have to
think for yourself.
I might have to get my mean gene on. I might have to get my mean gene on and bring both of y'all. Didn't I have both of y'all on before? Calm Islam and the wordsmith? We might get a little treat, SW. I see Quashim came in.
How many think you gonna do so far?
Free knowledge.
Oh my God. Multiply now.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got running their mouths as they should, huh?
Hey.
As they should. The fun. As they should. I like that. It's time you perform the next universal quality. Like, what you do with young kids. What the fuck? Oh, that's the solution all day. All day.
So the wordsmith said, I'm the mind, and within the mind is how I draw a memory. So no, I'm not only my memories, but that's a crucial part. Ah man, real hip hop. It says you remind them of Allah will manifest. The wordsmith said, what would be the point of having a past life if you can't recall the knowledge from that life? Knowledge is the foundation of all things. Qasim said, I found out when 20 shows you your open enemy, and it also shows you your hidden enemy, which is the 10%. Peace. He said, when you were a baby, that was also a past life, just on a micro level. If a person has no memories of when he was a baby, can we say he was never a baby? Well, I think you walk in a fine line right there, because even as a grown person, right, I don't really recall who taught me everything that I know. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying things that people taught me since I had the knowledge. Like, I don't really recall exactly which conversation I was in or who manifested that knowledge, but, I recall when that was manifested. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you still have an accumulation. You might not recall first learning how to count. You know what I'm saying? You might not recall learning how to tie your shoe. But there is an accumulation of knowledge. There's an accumulation of substance too. Because, to answer your question, that would be kind of ridiculous for you to say that a person was never a baby, because if we see them right now, unless we start to subscribe to some other kind of way of life than supreme mathematics, then we would say that person had to have been a baby before. Universal truth said memories come after you make or are a part of an event. Memory is your storage, not your source. All right, so see now, look, this is it. This is, like I said, I don't know if y'all realize some of the stuff y'all scratching on. But see, this right here, right, is the difference between, writing history in advance and recording history. You understand what I'm saying? After the fact. There's things that was recorded, whether they was recorded in your brain cells or whether they was recorded by some scribes, that passed it down throughout time through their writings. So that's a high science. That's what I'm saying. All of these things got to be taken into consideration too. Don't get so far off into this discussion of the Eastern philosophies, right? That we forget the things that we know to be true already. Shaheed Davis. SW said the equality is knowing your power, your true reality. Are you original or colored? The same guy said any grafted man made weak or wicked, and any live grafted joint from the original is devil.
See, some of them are on different degrees and shit. They 120.
Asiatic God mathematics, so the baby has just not developed to the point he can recall much yet. But if you died in a past life as an adult with a fully functioning brain, theoretically, you recall.
Past life shit coming from?
Since they start speaking about his reincarnation, how does that comply with our self-law, the master?
Well, guess what? Really, I wouldn't know because in the terms of the way it's used, because they know dead ever came fucking back to tell you if it's real or not.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at it like that. But if we're gonna look at it from knowledge and understanding one and the same in terms of teaching, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I know exactly what you're saying. See, listen, that's why I'm letting them talk. See, right. Because look, we don't have no teachings about death.
Right.
In the whole history of time, I ain't never heard, not of the 5% that taught me nothing about no science. So, look, when physical death is no coming back, I know about that part.
Right.
But other than that, we don't have no teachings about that. I'm life itself.
No, I'm saying, if a motherfucker that died, like, okay, he here now. He can tell you about what he was. I want to smoke me L. Let me meet that nigga. I want to have my beer. Let me meet him. I would sit down and really have a conversation with that nigga. Like to see where his mind taking and shit.
So, state of the art said is color having a lack of knowledge of self. No, it's not. See, because you got to remember, look, you got civilization and righteousness too. See, like, you got some people that got the knowledge of self, right? And they still the devil. Because they not civilized and righteous. And what they deal with is bringing about death, hell, and destruction. They're not dealing with everything in life as love, peace, and happiness. You understand what I'm saying? A person can know that they the devil. They know what they going to do when they look. When a person say, "Yo, man, I'm gonna go over there," and I ain't going over there because ain't nothing to steal. That person got knowledge of self. They know who they are. And they say, "Yo, man, I'm gonna go over there. Yo, cats is getting money," and they know who they are. But that don't mean that they civilized and righteous. You understand what I'm saying? Or the way that they deal with everything in life is through love, peace, and happiness. So don't confuse the two. See, you gotta lack the knowledge of yourself, right, in order to be a slave. But being civilized and righteous, they don't really get. In fact, they want you to have that. If something happened to Master, they want you to respond in a way where you're righteous towards it. You gotta lack the knowledge of self because if you know you the best, right, then you're gonna expect the best. You understand what I'm saying? And people that have a certain personality is only going to accept the best. to see a lot of what brothers and sisters expected, right, and accepted was based on them seeing themselves as slaves, as them seeing themselves with no history. You know what I'm saying? Which I think also goes into the science of what y'all building on right now in terms of memories and what that has to do with who a person is. Not coming down on one side or the other, but just saying that that memory had to be wiped out, right, of who the original man is, right, and what the original man has made and owned, right, and the fact that the original man has been the cream of the planet Earth, all of that had to be concealed, right, in order to keep him worshiping something he cannot see. You understand what I mean? But don't get that caught up with being the colored man. Calm as long as said Eastern doctrinists will say that the reason why you can't recall your past lives is because you haven't developed yourself to the point yet, which is the reason you took another birth. I mean, now listen, that also sounds, highly religious, you know, uh, that American type of religion that, the reason why you haven't won more football games, your team hasn't won more football games, is because y'all haven't been worshiping the Lord. Y'all haven't been worshiping the Lord, strongly enough. And the other team that thanks the Lord after they win every game, that's, not saying that's what you're saying. But you gotta realize I have these little pet peeves from once having been a victim of Christianity. I have these little kind of ideas that I look out. Little tiny yellow flags. All right, now real hip hop said if you lack knowledge of self, you are a savage. No. If you lose knowledge of self, you're a savage. Word 60 says Sudan spoke about Musa of the lessons not being the Musa of the Bible. Could you build on that? But I don't know if you say he spoke on it. Like, I don't know what he said about it. Right? And then that's what he said about it. You kind of got to ask him, but I mean, we'll see if we can, if I got some understanding about what he said. So wait. Universal truth said, if all energy is in motion, then you know reincarnation is real. You gotta expand on that a little bit more to make that connection. What is? How does that go?
Another logo up there? Doing the common unity logo. Setting it up, whatever, 16 or whatever, but we set the plates already. Two color job. We doing black, we do white plates. So set the plates up at least.
He said, I do agree that 120 does not deal with reincarnation, just like it does not deal with astrology, yoga, or sciences. That value can be found and if put in the proper perspective. Actually, astrology is in 120. Yoga, it would be a stretch, but it's in there. Hold on, let me catch up. Side rally is going. Side rally is going crazy today. Oh, how did Johann Blumenbach come in this? We got Johann Blumenbach getting just thrown under the bus. we got Johann Blumenbach just getting thrown under the bus in the conversation for no reason, right? Oh. I'm way behind. The side rally is. Are y'all paying? Are y'all keeping up with the side rally? I don't know if y'all keeping up. Universal truth said instinct is a form of knowledge that doesn't use memory. Okay, now you're gonna have to define memory. You're gonna have to define memory. You know what I'm saying? And I suppose we're gonna have to define instinct. Alright, Asiatic mathematics, that's a very good question here. So what part of man reincarnates into a new body, and how do they get into the new body? Hip-hop said, has anyone been banned from the Nation of Gods and Herbs, so to speak? Peace said, we do prefer the term exile. Indeed. Asiatic mathematics says, so if you return, how are you going to travel to a new body? And how is that body you if you can't even recall this moment right here? Hold up. It's a resurrection. Must be some comments I don't see. This side rally is crazy. The bar came in. What's the deal? Asiatic mathematics, that's another very good question here. So if you reincarnate into a tiger or a horse, are you still the righteous man? Because the reincarnation theory advocates coming back as anything.
You should cross that immediately. I'm not going to continue that shit. Like, hold up. You want this a lot of TV. And that's TV.
Rashim said, after death, stuff has no partnership with the living. It's that simple. No need to science that up. Leave death to the day.
Thank you, God. We're close. So, you want to look at excellent. Say thank you. I'm not doing this right. I gotta make some paths so the shit knocks out. We said we had to be in the same place.
So Carmen's Mommy said, I see what you're saying. I don't look at reincarnation in a religious way. I see it was alternative to spooky created God doctrine, because at least reincarnation says the universe has no beginning or ending. Real hip hop said, how do you lose the knowledge of yourself? You know, sometimes when you be trying to be funny and you say something crazy, that's losing the knowledge of yourself. When you do something that's outside the realm, you know, of your real principles that, you know, you saying that you uphold. You know what I mean? The real foundation. Like, look, even if it's you know, how your parents raised you. You understand what I'm saying? That's losing the knowledge of yourself. And see, over time, you know, if you just blend in with society, right, you start to do more and more things that's not based on mathematics. It's not based on your culture being Islam. You understand what I'm saying? It's just based on the flow of whatever's going on around you. If you're just going with the flow of everything that's going on around you, then you got the sole control. You understand what I'm saying? At that point, you know, and really all points before that, you put the wisdom before the knowledge. See, losing the knowledge, that's when you know better, but you don't do better. Shot Master said when you stop teaching. So word 60 says Sunya said Musa of the Bible was from a different time frame. What was these time frames? What did he measure all these things out to be? He says the degree mentions coming back from the grave through Jesus. Nah. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about coming back from being physically dead. When you dead, when the life no longer animates the body. He wasn't talking about spiritually dead. true self came in. So Word 60 said that he didn't go too much into detail of the time not matching up. It was near the end of class, but Word 60 said his research says that the Exodus was at 2666 BC. Ah, it's you know, Calm Islami is I didn't understand that degree at first either. When it said that uh, he's never coming back to tell you whether he lied or not, I thought they were saying that the person that died wasn't coming back to tell you that they lied to you about whatever. I didn't realize that they were saying that they wasn't coming back to tell you that the story of heaven and all this afterlife stuff is fake. You know, the whole science of what life truly is. That's what he never, you know, because remember all the degrees that you seeing, right, for the ninth degree on, is telling you that the 10%, right, they teaching about a mystery God. You understand what I'm saying? But it's saying that those same 10%, those same traders at the trading posts, you know, these same individuals, right, that, you know, the preacher that you give your money to on Sunday, that the people who died, it wasn't possible for them to come back and tell you whether the 10% was lying about the story that they told you or not. Yeah, but that was, we went through question, but yeah, I guess that was a couple of good questions we had right there. I mean, I'm not really, uh, what's the brother's name? Word 60. Yeah, I'm not really sure which way Sunnis or you was going with that. Wise, I don't know if I've seen him. Question said heaven actually is another word for space. Wise, I see what you said. Islam means peace. Peace has always been around. We're not tied to the words. We predate all of them. However, we use these words to express our thoughts. Islam is our self-Lord and Master. That never had a beginning. I mean, actually, yeah, I seen some of them. I was zipping through the side rally trying to catch up. SW said the body and the mind is the earth and the heavens to me. Bashim said Christians speak of paradise and constantly confuse it with heaven. All of the visit said heaven is at home with my sun, moon, and stars. Jasim said if we wake up in the morning and say it's going to be a bad day, we live in hell we're expecting to manifest. If we wake up and say it's going to be a good day, we live in the paradise of a brighter outlook on life. SW said paradise is a state of mind. The world decays by the second. Ah, man.
Motherfucker can't say decay without birth, too, without born. His life is born, birth, and decay. So we seem decaying, but you can't have one without the other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Life is born and decay, birth and decay. Anything go from now is born. Boom, it's physically there, the day process, but you're missing the part where life happens.
Quachine said, I trip Christians up with their own words and phrases. They don't know the meaning of words. Yeah, and they don't know the origin of even a lot of the concepts that's in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know, hell, and what's the real origin, or even like just the way they use the cross.
And it's crazy. That's why the
You know what I'm saying?
36 is so powerful. You know what I mean? Because black people really deep into religion. It's stupid as far as the origins and history of it or whatever. Like what you're talking to, you might go to certain places and they know it like that. We don't be knowing it like that. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
We don't be. We totally fucked up. The whole shit.
Yeah. So, most Christians, they look at the cross as a symbol of everlasting life.
That's right.
That somehow this is going to ward off death, when in fact, the cross was an ancient torture device and capital punishment, instrument of capital punishment. You know what I'm saying? But Rashim said, hell is described as a place of torment. That's a lie. Hell is a grave.
You know what hell we say? Hell is the penalty for imperfection.
When you get a chance, please, can you check on ACO and computer remote? That's your first one, man. appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, peace to the God.
Peace to the God.
Send us some surprise here. Oh, look.
Oh, we got soap dispenser.
This is dispenser, but this is for the hand sanitizer.
Oh, it's fine.
So now we could put these two right here on it too. You know what I mean? Went from 0 to 60.
We got to get the camera. You need one for a lot of
Well, we got two now, so we got two. We got some over here now.
Yeah.
What?
They put up two already over there. Two sanitizing dispensers. So now they got too much over here. So now we got two.
Yeah, shout out to Cyber King. We got another package from Darkim Shamel too. Shout out to the guys down in the DMV setting us up some much needed supplies. Quashif said the early Israelites considered hell the grave. I said the grave isn't a place of torment or destruction, it's a place of peace and reflection for the people who visit. State of the art, what degrees you knowledge? Because you know how you do. Stay there, don't be quiet. Hip hop said I need to get 120 lessons in audio book. Listen, man. You gotta just learn it the old-fashioned way. Like there's some things, man, that there's no shortcut. Watch this, some of our hells are swimming back 9,000 miles. Real hip hop says some people learn faster through listening. Okay, but look, being that you know how to read,
You gotta make your own audiobook. You know, you do podcasts, so I'm sure you're familiar with how to record your own voice. You know, make your own audiobook then. But nobody's gonna make an audiobook of that. Alright, so Stated of Art said he's on the equality degree in the 1 in 14. Then he said speeding last time caused me to deviate, so I'm taking it slow. Peace to Queen Mecca is setting me straight. Shout out to Queen Mecca. But yeah, you're on the 6th degree in the 1 in 14. It's a little progress. Hopefully you progressing with everything else that's involved with being a true living. I think you want to start a project of putting out an audiobook of what, 120? Well, start your own project. You see, because what happens is the same thing will happen with you with the Melchizedek lessons. See, once you do something, you know, people see, for instance, right? When people see that you got a high degree of self-discipline, right? And how you deal with yourself, right? That got something to do with how they treat you. When people see, you know, it could be anything. When people see that, you know, you can have a bite, but they see how you treat the bite, you know, that's going to give them a certain guideline on how they treat the bite, because they know how much of yourself you put into it and how you might react if they treat the bite less than how you treat it. So see, once you know, make the lessons a mundane thing like that, that's okay, you selling it, and then what happens? Some other person just buys the rights of it, and then they selling it, you know, under what, the idea that as long as it exists like that, then somebody might get it and be able to do some good with it. All right, as far as I'm concerned, then you got a spooky idea of what it is. You know, it's not just reading that. You got to be who you are. And if who you are, you know, is not the who in the knowledge degree in the 1 in 10, then that's just not who you are. You know, having a booklet, you know, that say $13.95 or whatever they say on the back, it's not gonna change you into that.
Gotta wear everywhere with the Jordans.
So again?
Put the Jordans and you look nice. To the outer shit. That's good. Y'all make that. Y'all make that.
Hip hop said, I know who I am. I mean, you're supposed to know who you are. Kareem said, I mean, no one can escape hard times. That's how I see hell. Whether you can't pay your bills, whether you lost a loved one, girlfriend, depression, etc., everyone will face some type of difficulty on a large scale in their life. But I think we had enough of, we could revisit life after death a little bit later. Anybody got any questions? About the living? Some live action heroes. It started out innocent enough. About the colored man and the Caucasian man. Real hip hop said, any thoughts on current events? Well, which current events? Because, you know, it's hard to keep up right now, really. COVID-19, That's old news now. You still talking about that? that's like 8 news cycles ago. Oh, that's the title of it live. I think it didn't change yet. If you refresh, I think it changed. I had to change it. But yesterday, I got a visit from some of the brothers came from out of town, and so I decided not to do the live yesterday. Well, I said, do I know an elder God by the name of Knowledge God? Well, which Knowledge God you talking about? What's my opinions on Melchizedek? I mean, Melchizedek is a very enterprising Muslim. In my that's my you said opinion. That's my opinion. Kareem said it's not old if brothers in here from California, Florida, and Texas. Now the brothers from California, no, I told them they was hiding the cases. They just didn't let the 5% teach them. But I told them they hiding the cases out of California, man. Listen, don't believe for 1 second it's not in California. You don't recall? Why I said I guess he's the one that says he visited Allah, and basically he's the only one that has it right exactly. I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, has there been some development about? Man, our brother Knowledge guy. Real Hip Hop said he confuses me with the FOI uniform. Well, what's confusing?
wear a full FOI uniform right now nowadays,
you said
I can get the fuck out of here too.
You said he confuses you with the FOI uniform. So the question is, what's confusing? Real Hip Hop said he jumps back and forth between NOI and NGE rhetoric. Listen, didn't I just tell you he was a Muslim? See, that's not confusing to me. You talking about he jumps back and forth. Ain't no jumping back and forth. Ain't no jumping back and forth. Like, what's the thing? Like, you gonna go? I mean, this is a science that's totally foreign to me. Jumping back and forth. Like, how do you jump back and forth? I'm saying mathematically. Like, what does that mean? You go from 1 to 31 to 3 to 6 to 7 to 45 to 11 to 2. What is it? Or is it that you move into some other whole scale of something that's not even mathematics? Like you jump from the mathematics to something else, which again, I can tell you whatever that is. So that's what I'm saying. The only thing, I mean, you gotta take this one on the chin. You chose to confuse yourself because of the, that's what people do. But I'm saying it's plain as day. Like you said, he got on an FOI uniform. But you're confused because he used a couple of words when he said this or that. See, and there you have it. Remember you asked the question yesterday, what's wrong with getting things off the internet? That's what happens. Real Hip Hop said he speaks on being Muslim, but speaks on knowing 120. Guaranteed. He speaks on 120, and he don't speak on it how we speak on it. Why I said a guy my age that used to rest, I guess that's in Washington and Seattle, is now one of his students. Melchizedek's, I guess he's saying, is one of Melchizedek's students and calls himself destroying the NGE because we're false claiming the 5%. See?
Small bag. Can I do that downstairs?
Well, I said I was very confused about who he is. Real Hip Hop said so he's not NGE. Nah. He not one of us. See, look, those is our brothers. like my often say during the show, at the end of the show, whatever, you know what I mean? Peace to all our different. Well, that's not it right there. Sure, you ain't put stuff in there. Oh. The good thing is I'm still broadcasting. I just can't see the comments. Can't see nothing. Can't see the comments on this.
That's kind of ball down. The backgrounds. Like a nice little small bag, tied in a knot. One of these little small, black bags like this. It's tied in a knot. I sat down over there first. My bag. The bag's down. I don't know what's going on. That's the last I remember.
Hip Hop said he wears FOI clothes with a universal flag. I mean, that should tell you something about him right there. You see, here's the thing. This is the importance. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta remember something. I'm the one who is making it seem the most important. But all the reasons why it's important really pertain to you. See, that's the thing. That's the kind of thing that is impossible for you to, really get a sense for. It's impossible for you to get a sense for that over the internet. For you to see that, like this person right here is really confused, and you know what I'm saying, me following them, but because you don't know, who you was exposed to, you didn't get a chance to get exposed to yet brothers that is, true and living God, then you don't realize that, yeah, that's not something the brothers that I know that build on that science, that's not something that they would be doing. That would be like, what you explaining, right, is like wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers helmet with a Cleveland Brown jersey. Got the Cleveland Brown jersey and the Pittsburgh Steelers helmet. Maybe that'll give you a little bit of perspective. Yeah, yeah, SW. I was just about to bring that up. I heard he got me on one of his videos, telling him I don't want to be on the show. That was a crazy moment. I don't know what was his point in doing that. I don't know what was his point of putting that excerpt on you. Not that it's a thing. It's just I don't know why. Sarnetta is an Egyptologist, Nile River Valley. I'm not really sure what they. Lord Salah. Asiatic mathematics. Well, I don't have the link. I didn't see it. People just told me about it. Nothing happened. I won't be on your show. Sonetta probably be in the background. Sonetta, he be on he go on the law school of Mecca channel. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you gotta have thick skin. You gotta have thick skin to go into that type of thing like that. You know what I'm saying? My skin is not thick enough for some of the stuff they say to each other. So that's how I know to stay away from that. Yeah, yeah, I had to straighten up that little technical difficulty right there. Yeah. Allah Shallah said, smart move, my skin not thick either. Born you truth, my knuckles are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Y'all take it too far. Why I say I see a lot of them are people who either started in the 5% or was inspired and wanted to build their own. I mean, definitely, yeah, we had a lot of influence, on everything, you know, in New York City, but yeah, in particular, on even just the way that the knowledge is manifested. You know what I'm saying? People being outside, you know, uh, the whole each one teach one, instead of everybody being, attracted to this minister or preacher. SW said it's all separatism to me. The debates accomplish nothing more than intellectual cloud, it seems. Yeah, I mean, it's a different type of form, but um, once you gain any type of knowledge, man, you always gotta recall that there's people uh, who, even like real hip hop say, some people they might not read the lessons and pick it up as fast as some people might hear the lessons. You know what I'm saying? They might be able to pick it up faster like that. You know, uh, there's some people that you know for you might be beyond, you know, like he's got a crowd. You know what I'm saying? His channel, you know what I'm saying? He might got 100,000 people or something. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, for those people, you know, it might be the first time, you know what I'm saying? It might be whatever, you know, you can't really, you know, call everybody's journey. But, you know, that's one things how I see it, that, you know, look, it's not really for me. But for some people that may not be, you know, like I said, you know, all of that's the luck of the draw. Where I was born in the right place at the right time, you know, physically birthed on this plane right here to be able to walk and talk to certain people. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, for people who don't have that opportunity, right, that wasn't, you know, the things would occur, then what? That might be their journey. They first might have to get exposed to certain things on Saturday. You know what I mean? Or for certain people, you know what I'm saying? They might, you know, everybody's not as self-motivating as everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days, you had, say when we in school, right? You had certain brothers that knew their lessons every day when we was having ciphers in school. But then over the summertime, if they go stay somewhere else where, you know, there's no 5% there, then they not really studying their lessons if at all. You know what I'm saying? So for some people who, you know, they need the motivation, you know what I'm saying, of something where they see, different people got a morning routine or a workout routine or whatever that they do in order to put themselves in the right mind state. You know what I'm saying? Just doing the knowledge to that, you know, the conversations that they have, the topics of the conversations that they have. You know what I'm saying? Could be the motivating factor for some people. So that's how I look at it. You know, because see, I mean, with you know, I don't like condemning because listen, you know, we the first to tell people that look, everybody can't be this. But just because they can't be this, see, like we was just talking about, you know, religious concepts and heaven and hell and all that. It ain't like, well, uh, you know, they can't be this. That now they're banished to the hellfire. You know, we gotta give them. We gotta send them down to the devil. You know, we don't want to go to that level either. You see what I'm saying? So for some people, you know, look, they might just deal with civilization and righteousness. You know, we know that they the type of people that deal with everything, you know, in the form of love, peace, and happiness. You know, and not in trying to bring about death, hell, and destruction. state of the art. He's going in another direction. But you know, peace. You know, that's state of the art. He's kind of a specialist at that. Like I said, you're gonna look, man. You're gonna have all different levels of, you know, and that's something that has to happen. You know what I'm saying? Well, like I said, the application, right, of the knowledge is also dependent upon the surroundings. You know what I mean? What you applying your knowledge to. So, like when people have a culture, right? For instance, you know, a culture. One of the things of a culture is the kind of clothes that you wear. So if you're in a culture, you know what I'm saying, on the equator, then the way you apply your knowledge, right, is going to be different than if you were in a culture in the Arctic Circle. You know, just from that aspect of the clothes you wear, you know, probably the foods you eat too. You know what I'm saying? How much you're going to be willing to be, you know, on the stove or whatever the case may be in order to do this cooking. So by that same token, it's going to be all different people that, you know, they have all different perspectives on what we're seeing. From their perspective, that's the best part. And, you know, like the saying goes, I'd rather them choose that for their best part, right, than for them to be fake over here. Just think about that. How much do you want somebody fake around you? Would you rather a person be real, you understand what I'm saying, but they something else? Or would you rather them be fake and be this right here? See, a person can be real with what they doing, like Jehovah's Witness, don't get me wrong. You know, they can come by and annoy you. But if a person is sincere to being a Jehovah's Witness, they ain't gonna bother you. Like, they're not gonna do nothing to harm you and your family and nothing like that. They just gonna believe what they believe. But see, a person that come over here and be fake this, they might harm you and all the generations of your family. had 2.5. We had 2.5 hours. Sunya set the standard. We were supposed to do 3 hours, right, in this format. We're about to take a quick break, we're about to take a 4-minute break. But during this 4-minute break, any questions that anybody has, when we come back, we'll get into that and then wrap up today's class. Elite low, peace to the God. Well, so we didn't get very many questions. I would put the exact number right now at 0. So I guess we had another class in which my wisdom was clear enough that everyone was able to understand what we built on perfectly. Of course, we had a lot of side rally, for those that's for those that was interested in the side rallies that we had today. But we spoke on uh, what does it mean when it said the colored man or Caucasian man is the devil. We spoke on, well, not so much me, but there was a discussion in the side rallies speaking on certain Eastern philosophies. You know, maybe that's actually a whole topic that we need to have. You know, how Eastern philosophy coincides with supreme mathematics. You know, does it coincide? And if it does coincide, how so? You know, what's the level that we actually, you know, what's the level that we actually look at Eastern philosophy, right, as truth, and how much we look at it as just another form of indoctrination, you know, another form of searching for trained views. Oh yeah, God Save the Divine just came in. Yeah, doing the City rebroadcast. I don't know. And God Save the Divine strike me as one of those people that be talking at the screen as if he's like really in the conversation. The Universal Truth said the focus wasn't on Eastern philosophies, it was on reincarnation. I mean, truth specifically, it was on reincarnation. But, you know, reincarnation is one of those things that you kind of can't just pluck out. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's related to other concepts within the Eastern philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just fit reincarnation into the Christian worldview. You understand what I'm saying? All of that's a part of the context in which you can see that as truth. You understand what I'm saying? It works for Jesus Christ because it's miraculous within that setting. You understand what I'm saying? So it's this ascribed to somebody who they're saying is God. You know. Islam. He says some of it coincides, some of it does not. I mean, we can say that, with everything, but you know, uh, like I said, being able to speak that language, there's a certain language, that you got to know in order to read between the lines in Christianity. And there's a certain language, right, of knowing how to read between the lines in that Eastern philosophy. No matter which one it is. Because they all share a kind of common history. You see what I'm saying? The same way that, what they call the Abrahamic religions, they share a kind of common context and history. You know what I'm saying? Of the people who played a part in it and the places that it went down and all of that. As W said, it's a philosophy that started in the East, isn't a fact. It's a part of the pillaging and remixing. Some say you return as a million goats. Some say a goat. Some say another person. Who really knows? Nigel Grimm just came in. Universal Truth said religions don't have a copyright on subjects like reincarnation. People give religions that credit because they are unaware of the real applications behind the term. Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Reading between the lines of the philosophies, it has everything to do. Like, this is what I'm saying, right? Uh, the American history. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure where you're from, Universal Truth. You know, but the American history of what's taught when you go to school, right? Like when you say how I see 10, 20, and 30, or is that like code? I just said the other day, man, when you under 30, I need a glossary to speak to you. Like if you under like 30, I said like 35, I need a glossary. Y'all think I know what y'all talking about. All right, now look, you from California, so let's shrink down the what's the name that I'm looking at right now. As a person from California, right? If somebody says that you're speaking with a California accent, it's going to take you a minute to register that. Like the first time I heard somebody say, everybody from New York speak with an accent. See, to me, people from New York spoke regular, and everybody else spoke with an accent. You understand what I'm saying? Because you the whole common experience that y'all have. But when somebody who's not from that common experience, right, when they try to analyze things what everything means to them could be something different. Like for instance, we were speaking on the dragon, right? Now, the way the dragon, uh, the way the dragon is introduced in Christianity, right? Is the knight in shining armor and the damsel in distress, and dudes that you a dragon slayer, that means that you brave. You go out and you kill the dragons. The dragons are always trying to destroy the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But in the east, you know what I'm saying? The dragons is like chariots of the gods. You know what I'm saying? People who did great things, they rode in on dragons. You understand what I'm saying? You see SW, this is a Hotep channel. Did anybody ever tell me what 10, 20, and 30 mean? Or is it me? What is 10, 20, and 30? The verse who came in, yeah. But it's all different things like that. See, the way that we see the snake, right? Because we come from, well, now we come from, but, we was indoctrinated into the Abrahamic, you know, the Abrahamic philosophies or whatever, the Abrahamic traditions, right? We see the snake a different way than, uh, we see the snake a different way than the Egyptians or many other, or I give you another good example. Coming from the Western tradition, right? From the Western tradition, right? Uh, the way people have relationships with dogs, right? In the Western tradition, right? They don't want to eat dogs. But see, in the Eastern tradition, they don't see dogs the same way. Like they're not there for you to be friends with. They see dogs the same way that people in the Western tradition see, you know, lambs, goats, cows, whatever they eat. So that's why, like I said, you can't always just separate out one little thing, right? And then judge everything that's going on by that. Anything that happens, you can see somebody, slap somebody in the face. And you might be like, damn, that's messed up. That person just slapped that person in the face. But that might be, you might be like, man, that's all they did. You might find out what the person who slapped did and get mad at the person who slapped them. Because that's all they did. So that's why, I said the whole Eastern philosophy, because reincarnation, you know what I'm saying? That's one, idea or whatever, but it rests on other pillars within the philosophy that allows this kind of thing to be true. You understand what I'm saying? Like Jesus resurrecting, right? That's the science of reincarnation in Christianity. See, a lot of the things is included, especially being remembered. They got to indoctrinate people that's from all these different philosophies, right, into one thing so that they can be ruled over peacefully by the Roman Empire. So this is where a lot of the, you know, paganism, or whatever I don't want to necessarily call it paganism because that got a negative connotation, but just saying that it wasn't mainstream Catholicism. Say it. Real hip hop. No, I'm not building on East versus West traditions, right? But I will say this: uh, you know, when you look at, first of all, everything has its origin with the original man. And so when you look at a lot of things that originated with the original man, right? Especially after, the amount of death, hell, and destruction that we've been through, a lot of times we can't just go back. Like you could go back to Egypt right now and see the pyramids, but you can't go back and really see their whole society. You can't, visit one of their schools or, what I'm saying, play on one of their playgrounds. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so we see the evidence of a lot of things that they accomplished, right, through other civilizations that experienced them in one way or another. You understand what I'm saying? Like you see their gods and their mathematics and all of this, their medicine. You see that from the Greeks. And then, the Greeks influenced the Romans and the Romans influenced all the Europeans. So, you can look at a lot of things right now, what they call the pillars of Western civilization, right? But it's not the whole thing. Or just like right now, if you look at all the different, the diaspora, what do you call it? The slavery diaspora, where people were took to all different parts of the globe, right? And in each different specific situation, right, of oppression, they managed to retain different of, different things that come from that original culture. You understand what I'm saying? Like, uh, if you look at Spanish culture, they preserve a lot of, you know, things that was a part of the original man culture in Africa. If you look at, Jamaicans, they got some other things that they retain. from the original way of life that brothers was living over there. So when you look at, all these different forms of the truth, that's based on the original man's teachings, right? We see different elements, right, of, the true nature of all reality, which is supreme mathematics. And, one thing you see, like for instance, if you notice, right, uh, when you deal with Eastern philosophy, it's very internal. But then when you deal with, Western philosophy, it's very external. And you got to realize that those differences do exist. Real hip hop said, I see the 120 lessons leans on the Eastern way of life. How you see that? That's, yeah, how you see that? Like you said, simply put, I see supreme mathematics having greater commonality with ideas expressed in the Eastern traditions rather than the so-called Abrahamic traditions. That's, um, either one of y'all, could y'all expand on that? Because I would say it's the opposite. That seems to lean heavily on Christianity. Um, but what are y'all seeing in there? The wordsmith said, there really is no need to believe in supernatural things anyway, because the mind has so much potential. The power and complex nature of the mind makes the other stuff insignificant. Real hip hop says self-help and self-actualization is an Eastern old world society outlook. Um, I don't know about that so much. Real hip hop said I probably could say that what is taught in 120 lessons is an ancient concept, just refined and updated. Karma's Lonely said teacher-student dynamic, science of self-knowledge, knowledge of being supreme, are all ideas that are common ideas that are crucial factors in the Eastern traditions. All right, well, what about Vesuvius Man? Is everyone familiar with Vesuvius Man? That's my bad. I said Vesuvius. I mean, I misspoke on that. I should have said Vitruvian man. What about Vitruvian man? Yeah, universal truth. But do you know the science behind Vitruvian man? So you gotta beware that every concept that is Christian, right, or every concept that's Western is not necessarily Christian. See, a lot of all this, things that you saying back here, right, about self-actualization, common harmony. You said teacher-student dynamic, science of self, knowledge being supreme, are all ideas that are common ideas that are crucial factors in Eastern traditions. Traditions. But look, what about the science of Freemasonry? That's a Western tradition. You understand what I'm saying? It's a different one than Catholicism. But I'm saying those concepts is manifested in a Western setting as well. But how it's applied and what it's applied for becomes different. Common knowledge of the concept of Purusha or Supreme Man predates the Vitruvian Man. That's an Eastern science. I didn't say whether just because something predates something, I don't mean that it comes from that thing. But like I said, I'm not saying that he invented the concepts behind the truth here, man. Because if they the truth, then those principles always existed. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that show up, right, in Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy. But they show up as bits and pieces in comparison, right, to the signs that they came from. Universal Truth said, I don't know the history of the Vitruvian man. See, the Vitruvian man, was science behind it is man being the sole controller of the universe. But that's one you could check it out. The title should have refreshed by now. I guess I gotta change it somewhere else. I don't know why the title didn't change yet. Killa tape is missing. Man, it wasn't gonna be no live yesterday. Yeah, peace. And it pretty much was, you know, started off actually with Gold Mine. Gold Mine came through. Then we had some other brothers. Come through, Energon, Dilithium. See, that's what I recall. I know that type of. If I can understand what you're saying. In the '90s, we had a unique slang. But I'm telling you, it's other people I can understand. But when I'm talking to people that's under like 35, I need a glossary, translator, and maybe not a translator, but interpreter. I need an interpreter. So yeah, everything was good. It wasn't no. But I just decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and just keep the day nice and peaceful. So we got any other questions before we wrap this one up? I think we could wrap this one up. Everybody that made it this far with me, do the each one teach one. Click the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. Are we back on zigzag zip again? Purple tape sunglasses. What's purple tape sunglasses? Yeah, we've been on zigzag zip for like 2 weeks now. Lord Hashim from down in Texas, he spoke definitively. You know, he gave some definitive information concerning that in the last live. Universal Truth said, I don't agree with that explanation. Which explanation would that be? Sunglasses that look like they were made out of purple Cuban link tapes. I can't picture it. Ah man, the wordsmith, he's in full blossom today. But yeah, also man, I gotta find a way to cut down on the technical difficulties. We had some technical difficulties today. We're gonna be moving beyond that. Universal truth. I mean, well, what do you mean you don't agree with it? Like you don't agree with it? Like you not agreeing that it's true, right? That's all right. You know, you gotta see understanding. But what I'm saying is, what about the historical aspect of him saying that he did receive that, and the rather, like I said, whether you agree with it or not, right? The aspect of, if somebody said, well, yo, that's originally how I received it, how you know? Well, because we used to build on it and say this. What about that aspect? universal truth says the history is peace. The understanding is what I disagree with because we all don't have the same understanding. Well, what do you mean by that? And what I'm saying is that let me be clear. What my question was pertaining to is that a lot of times we have somebody that'll say something that's plain wrong, right? But then they'll use the reasoning that, well, that's my understanding. And understanding means to see, right? And we deal with things in all worlds from highest to lowest. So when we say, you see, right? If we both looking at a car, right? But you see a can opener and I see an elephant, then our understanding is, what's the name? Y'all left that bread in the yard? The brown bag with the bread in it.
I know chicken else.
Yeah. It's by the grill. But what do you mean when you say we all don't have the same understanding? Because for the most part, I disagree with that. Except for the most part, everyone has the same knowledge, but what they draw up from that knowledge varies from person to person and group to group within the nation. No, that's what I'm saying. Universal truth. Let's see if you can kind of visualize what I'm saying, because it is something that you got to kind of see, right? Imagine that we standing across from each other, like we facing each other, right? And I put an object in the middle of us. Let's say it's a car. I put a car in the middle of us, right? Now, because a car is one object, right, with 8 sides, no 6 sides, pardon me, right? I'm seeing a certain perspective of the car, and what you're seeing is another perspective of the car. But what we're both seeing is the car, and the difference, right, is the context in which we're seeing it, meaning the perspective. And the reason why I say context is saying that, okay, now when we spread that out into everything in reality, right? If any facts that we're talking about, right? Now, where we standing in perspective of this topic, right, is based on our experience, our history. You understand what I'm saying? The amount of knowledge and wisdom that we have. Now, understand me, what I'm saying is this. From a standpoint of knowledge and wisdom, right, I got multiple children, right? Now, look, even if they was identical twins, right, we still know that there's some differences between them. They're not going to look exactly alike. But if they came from the same knowledge and wisdom, then we should be able to recognize, we should be able to, there's certain characteristics about them that's so close that they had to be treated special. So that's what I'm saying about understanding, right? That listen, if it's coming from the same knowledge and wisdom, like I'm in this nation, I got this mindset of Allah. You in this nation, you got this mindset of Allah. And see, even in the 85 world, they got a saying, like minds think alike. Like sometimes you can meet somebody even in the 85% world, and it's like, yo, y'all got a certain amount of things in common. And then the more y'all get to know each other, the more you realize that y'all always had in common. Oh, you like that team? Y'all like that team too. Oh, you like riding bikes over there? I like riding my bikes over there too. Sometimes it be years later. Like see 793rd, he bring up things that, he did that I did too. So that's what I'm saying, is that if we in a cipher, right, and we building and we going back now to what I was saying about the car being in between us. When you start explaining, right, what you see, yeah, it's going to sound different. And if we small-minded, right, when I explain what I see, it's going to sound different from what you see. But see, if we small-minded and we really describing what we see, then we're supposed to be able to see eventually. Now, hold up, we're talking about the same thing here. This is what you said? All right, yeah, this is what I'm seeing. Was you on here the other day when I was building about this? It's a story. I can't recall, who's the author and what philosophy that it came from. But about these people who, it was 3 blind people, right? And they brought all of them up to an elephant and told all of them to explain what it is, like identify what this thing is right here. So they blind, they can't see, blind people, one of the ways they, absorb information about the world is through touch. And so they put one of the blind people, they put them by the trunk of the elephant. And so he had a certain experience, you understand what I'm saying? Where, he described, what he saw or what he felt, through the experience of the trunk. Then they put another one of them on the side of the elephant. So when they felt the side of the elephant, they was like, it's like a wall or something. They described what they seen through that perspective of that experience. And then the other person, they put them by the tail of the elephant. So now that's 3 blind people though. So see, what do that mean? And by, them being blind, right? But they taking in this information, it means that they overall they was blind. Even though you could take in a certain amount of information right here by your hands, but it's overall, you still blind. See, overall, we not blind. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, we got supreme knowledge of ourselves. So if you start explaining the trunk of the elephant to me, because overall I'm not blind. Like if they bring me up and look, I saw the elephant, right, with the naked eye, but they only let me touch the side. So they say, yo, look, explain what it is you touched. And I might say, well, yes, it's something like a wall. But because overall I'm not blind, when you explain the trunk to me, I'm gonna say, yeah, I saw that part, but I didn't get a chance to get over there. You know, that's not the part that they have me dealing with. Universal Truth said, I interpreted the questioning of someone's perspective as the act of excluding said perspective when it's only examining each perspective as a means of inclusion. I get it now. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, now we speaking on the science of what God taught in terms of, look, if you want to see me come together, see, even what we were saying, look, even in the science with this exact zip thing, was that, listen, all the brothers got to come together, right, and speak on their experience that they have with them. See, like right now, we tell you about experiences that people took, but each of those people had a specific experience, and it wasn't from the same perspective of time, place, right, or audience. If somebody's in elementary school, right, Allah's not going to tell them, yo, son, you need to get a job. Allah's going to ask you how you did in school today. Where's your report card? Don't try to get over on. When I see the report card, you better be doing the right thing. You got to apply that knowledge, right, in a way that's specific to those things. But then, when all these different things, that's what we all bring. You bring that perspective of the front of the car. And I bring the perspective of the back of the car. You see what I'm saying? I give you a good example of a situation where it's like, yo, if everybody only got the same perspective, right, it could work real bad for you. See, when you're dealing with the trader, right, when you're dealing with the trader, whether he come in jungles of whatever continent he come in, right, when you deal with the trader, all of us got the same perspective on the traitor because none of us never met him before. And see, all the Indians who first encountered Colombia, all the Indians that first encountered Columbus, they were always first encountered him. There was nobody to say, nah, watch him, son. There was nobody to say, nah, I know the nigga from elementary, son. He's grinding. So yeah, we all gotta see understanding for ourselves and have understanding for ourselves. Meaning, you can't just see if you just seeing what I say to see because I see it. Even if you respect my knowledge and all that, you know what I'm saying. And I base what I'm saying on knowledge and wisdom. That's still just the same thing as going to church, right? And somebody else interpret the word for you. But it's one of the things where, listen, eventually, it's like riding a bike. Eventually, whoever's showing you how to ride a bike, they gotta let you go. And they ain't sure what's gonna happen, but you gotta do the same thing as everybody else did that ever rode a bike in the history of time in order to be successful at it. Universal truth said Allah is the original people. So to see what they see is to have access to the same understanding and deal with unity. Exactly. It shows that we, the original people, and we seeing things from a certain mindset in a certain context. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when you do the knowledge of these different inner cities, and the kind of things that, the outlooks that different cities might have, you know what I mean? Some cities is real violent or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's a sign of a mindset developing in an environment. And they all with it because the environment is common to all of them. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing with what we dealing with. And once we have, the same mindset, not sharing the brain. I don't like when people seem like they sharing the brain. But when they share mindset, those people in your life that you get to the point where y'all don't have to speak in words no more. So you can't get to a person like that without a whole bunch of checklists, morals being the same, principles being the same, mindset, having the same experiences, the same foundation, the same background. And so, like you said, so, you might get to it when, you might think about it in terms of, brothers trying to cut off what I see. They're not trying to let me be free. But no, we have to develop our state of being one mind. Like if you notice, even if you go back into the Caucasian history, right? Remember in the Revolutionary War, it was a dude that circulated a pamphlet about different things that they didn't like that King George was doing, and they galvanized the people. You understand what I'm saying? Into one mindset. See, that's one of the things when John Wycliffe translated the Bible into English, right? But it's also about the Gutenberg press, because the press is what allowed it to be mass produced. So all the people develop under one mind state. That's why in America they can make slaves out of different people, never seen each other, but they react the same way to the slavery, because their mindsets was developed under the same conditions. See, I did what y'all always do. It got me to be on here longer than I was supposed to. But that's to be expected from y'all, man. I don't know how y'all operate. Bro, hip hop said keep the bill on the 6th degree of the 114. Universal Truth said, like the Maxan natives did Magellan. Universal Truth said, I agree that someone saying, that's my understanding, is dodging responsibility of explaining themselves from the knowledge of what they're saying. Exactly. Moving the goalposts. See what you have, right? Is you have, you got, there's a tactic, that individuals use a lot of times, deflecting. And if you play sports or whatever, about deflecting. That's when you don't intercept it. You don't knock it down. You deflect it. You redirect everything in another direction, right? Where the other side can't be successful. Yeah, that's true. Little hip hop music, and I'm building a 60 degree and a 114. That is true. If you have the supreme wisdom, what I was getting ready to say is not going to be, it's not going to comply, it's not going to coincide with what you got. Okay, yeah. Why is the devil teaching keep our people illiterate? That's right, exactly. Now, let me ask you. Did you have a specific question? You know, and is your question how could he teach, right, and keep people illiterate at the same time? Is that your question? I don't know. Young God. Now, um, you still haven't been 100% clear on what your question is. But this degree in particular, right, along with some others, is a degree that, see, like I said, when you're doing 120 lessons, when you want to come up to an understanding, you got to answer these questions for yourself. And so, in this particular degree, one of the questions that, exists, whether you come to the realization of it or not, is that that's a degree that has to be brought up to date. That's a degree that has to be seen within that original context that was in 1933, and then also right now. Meaning at the present date of this writing. Because in 1933, a huge percentage of original people were illiterate in a literal sense. Meaning they couldn't read and write. So when you look at that, off the rip, one thing you see, right, is that, okay, why is the devil teaching and keep our people illiterate? part of that is dealing with why does the devil keep our people apart from their own social equality? Because they teach little white kids how to read. They're not teaching little black kids how to read. You know, until you start getting, you know, the different movements, the Booker T. Washingtons and all these others like that, you know, education was limited to what you need, what the devil did teach you, right? Is what you needed to know in order to be of service to him. And see, when you look at that definition, that's the definition, or that's the perspective of looking at it, right? That can be brought up to date. So when we say people is illiterate, right? Illiterate to what? You know, in the basic sense is that you don't know how to read or write the language that you speak. Signs we dealing with, you know, in the world, you know, that goes around the world, you know, that different people, you know, the signs of the truth of all reality. So now when we bring that up to date, right, is why does the devil teach? Like why does the devil bring you into school, right? Why does the devil bring you into school for 12 years, 16 years, you know, 18 years, 20 years, whatever it is? Right? Why does the devil do all of that? So that he can use them as a tool and also a slave. See, you bringing that up to the date of this writing, like I said, right? That's you being trained. That's you being trained to work in a society in the capacity that they want you to work. So, see, when in the 1800s and 1700s, when America was what they call an agrarian society and an agrarian economy, you don't need to know physics. You don't need to know, you know, algebra and calculus and all this stuff. But then once you come up to the Industrial Revolution, now you got a different. We need you to know how to work your factories. So we're gonna put shop class in here to show you how to, you know, work with materials and all of that. Well, now we're gonna change it. You don't have to take shop no more, but you got to take computers now because they training the population to be, you know, to be able to do what they need them to do. So right now, people have, you know, industrial revolution, workforce training. You don't really have a true education of who you are or none of the most important aspects of how to even use the knowledge that they give you. So see, in this day and time, that's how the devil teaches and keeps us illiterate. You see what I'm saying? Because he'll show you everything about 1, 2, 3, but he ain't gonna tell you nothing about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And like I said, the reason for that is so that he can use you for a tool and also a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Like I said, nothing about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Only about 1, 2, 3. Illiterate means ignorant. back up here. Just one. Yeah, but like I said, man, let me stop being caught up with y'all. Y'all have me on here another hour. The universal truth said the fifth degree and 114 says the devil uses a name to shield his dirty religion. It also says Jesus didn't teach Christianity. I theorize the degree is talking about Paul. Well, there's Paul, there's Constantine, there's the Flaviuses, what's their names? Flavians, there's the Borgias, there's lots of people. Well, yeah, we can get into it next time. But just in general, I'm saying there's lots of people that we could specifically speak on. I mean, all the different people that I just named, they also deliberately changed Jesus' message, But like I said, man, well, tomorrow's Thursday, so I guess I might do something real quick on. Instagram, but generally speaking, tomorrow and Sunyas. We already did all of the goodbyes. So I'm just gonna say peace and check y'all out later. Peace.